Hello, this is a scout and his dad being me. I started filming and sharing these adventures as a way of showing the joy we can have together as father and son. We're going to go backpacking up Mount Mincy. What do we need?
A backpack.
Happy Father's Day.
Great, now I have a backpack. What other things do we need, son?
Well, I need a backpack.
Sorry, we don't have one for you.
That's something that we need to get.
We need to get you a backpack. What else do we need?
Sleeping bags.
Let me see if we have sleeping bags. Hold on.
Okay, I'll start right here.
Here's yours,
Yay!
and here's mine. Let's check out our sleeping bags here. What's yours rated to?
Okay, mine is rated to 50 degrees youth.
Might be okay. Does it get small?
No, it does not.
Not really a backpacking sleeping bag.
Yeah.
What do we have here? This one. This one's rated to 30 degrees.
Can it get shorter?
Well, it does come in a cinch sack and a stuff sack.
So basically, it can.
We can. We just have to know what to do. Yes. And this has come undone. What else do we need, son?
We're going to need something to sleep on, so maybe a rest mat?
Do we have any rest mats?
I will go and see.
Oh, that was not good.
Oh, there's your rest mat. Happy Father's Day.
Well, this does go down. This is my thermarest. It's really not a great one.
But it'll do.
And this is the other thermarest we have, which is a good one. This is a really top line thermarest. What else do we need?
We're going to need a tent.
I think we have a tent.
Ooh, 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 ooh.
Look what I found in the garage. It is a Eureka backcountry tent. It's a two-man tent. I'm so happy we found this. This was given to us by my wife's cousin, John. Thank you, John.
Yeah,
It's
go
a nice
John.
little tent. Go, John.
Go John.
So, what else do we need to do to prepare for this trip?
Well, we are going to probably need a bear bag to store all of our leftover food.
Bear bag? Do we need a specific bear bag?
We just need a bag that can store some food and some rope. That way we can throw it over a tree.
So how do we store the food?
We put it inside of the bag if we have like any excess.
Can we put it in our backpacks?
The bear bag?
Well, no. If we have all the food in our backpacks, can we just use that as a bear bag?
No.
Why not?
Because the bears would smell it, and then they would start to tear apart somebody's backpack, and then they would eat the food.
Okay. Let me make sure I get this question right, okay? Can we take our backpacks and put them up in the tree instead of just a back? Yeah, with the food in it.
Yes.
Okay. So that will work.
Yes, it will. You just have to make sure that your bag is light enough that you can throw it over a branch without it breaking.
Do you have to throw the bag over the branch?
Not necessarily.
What can you do? You can take your rope, get a sock, an old sock, put some rocks in it, tie the sock to the rope, throw the sock over a tree, branch, right?
And then hoist it down.
And let it come down, and then you tie your bag to where the sock is, and then you can hoist it up.
Okay.
How high up does the bag need to be?
I'd probably say about a good 10 feet.
Good, 10 to 15 feet. That's good. You want it to be out of reach of any bears that are going like that.
Basically, if like this was the stuff that had all the food, and I was the bear, and it was just on the floor, I could just bam, I have all the food.
Yeah, bear, like other vermin, are going to try and get into your bag no matter what. If you leave your bag with food on the ground and a bear doesn't come by, a rodent might just chew through your bag to get through your stuff. Would not be a good idea, would it?
No.
You don't really want to take this stuff and have it even in your tent, really. Any other considerations for our trip that we need to plan for?
Well, we do have to get me a backpack.
Okay, we need to get you a backpack.
Do we have bear bags? Like,
We just discussed that. We don't really need bear bags. We can use our backpacks. Throw our backpacks up there. Anything stinky goes up in the bear bag.
or like sweet to a bear?
By stinky, I mean toothpaste, deodorant, soap, if you're bringing soap with you.
Soap.
The stinky soap, the scented soap.
Stinky.
And any food, all food. Saltines, it doesn't matter. Altoids, there you go. Altoids, candy, there you go. Do we need water?
Yes, we are going to need some water and probably some trail food.
Okay. What would be a good trail food?
Maybe some granola bars or trail mix.
Good. That's where trail mix comes from, right?
Yes, granola.
Okay. What happens if we're walking down the trail and we see a bear?
We usually we would scream and we would raise our hands up like this.
You go, yo bear!
Yo,
Get yourself real
bear!
big, yo bear!
And then they would say goodbye.
And the bear would run away.
Yeah.
Now, bears don't like loud noises. They have very sensitive ears. They can hear you miles away, I'm sure. I know they can smell you like miles away. They can smell your food like 10 miles away. So one of the things we got, some people suggest bear spray. I got this. It's an air horn. Plug your ears, everybody. Ready? That'll scare a bear away. If you're not loud enough, you go, it's out. We need to get a new one. Oh no!
Well, you can get some from like Campmore or something.
Yes, we can go to a camping store like Campmore or REI or someplace like that. I do suggest that when we go get you, we have to get you a backpack, that we figure out some things about backpack. Learn a few things about backpacks and what we need from a backpack. So we get you the right one.
Yeah.
I want to make a deal with you, okay? The deal with you is this. Any equipment that I buy you now, if you need to replace it later on in life, you buy it or yourself.
Okay.
All right. So we need to get you a nice, long-lasting backpack that's going to last until you're about 18. Because when you're 18, I'm done. You get your first job, I'm done. You're buying your own stuff. You're buying me stuff, man.
Nah, I will buy your stuff if I win the lottery.
If you win the lottery, okay. I wanted to do these father and son adventures because I lost my dad at a young age and felt it very important to create memories between the two of us. Backpacking was chosen because it seemed like the type of thing my father, Scout's granddad, would do. He was a survivalist trainer for the Air Force and loved the outdoors. This series is not about bushcrafting, but just about spending time together with your son. We started planning our first adventure in the summer of 2016. I watched hundreds of videos on YouTube and would like to thank all of you for your help and information that you shared. I read several books, perused magazines and websites to ensure that we were well prepared for any trip we decided to take. Our first real backpacking adventure was going to be to the top of Mount Mincy in Delaware Water Gap. We chose this trip on the advice of one of my wife's co-workers. It's about a 3-mile hike with an elevation gain of about 1,000 feet. We were led to believe this was a simple and easy hike. The trip was going to happen in September. Actually, it was going to happen in July. The first thing we needed to do was review what camping gear we currently have and see what we could use for backcountry camping. All 4 of us, my wife, my daughter, my son, and myself, had been camping a lot over the last year. We certainly had no problem sleeping in tents. However, the tent that we usually use for car camping is a 12-person cabin tent that weighs about 50 pounds. There was no way we were going to take that hiking. I reviewed what we had in the garage and realized I had a Eureka Backcountry 2 two-person tent, perfect for the planned trip. Since I am the biggest, I have to carry more, and therefore I get to carry the tent. We also had other stuff like camping cookware and thermarest mats. What we didn't have were 2 backpacks and a stove. I had a backpack I received for Father's Day, but Scout only had a bulky sleeping bag, no pack or tent. It was time to find things we needed. Back to the internet. I learned to make a fancy feast stove. I also learned a few things about kids' backpacks. Using what I learned about backpacks and my wife's amazing money-saving skills, we were able to get Scout a sleeping pad and a backpack. Now we were pretty set. We felt we were now fully prepared to hike Mount Mincy. We even tried some freeze-dried meals while front-end camping with the family. The date for the trip came and the weather gave us excessive heat warnings. We couldn't risk overheating on the trail. It wouldn't be safe with kids. So we sent out on what we call the Faux backpacking trip. The rule was once we left the house, we couldn't go back into the house except to use the bathroom. We were not going to be digging any cat holes in our backyard. We were going to hike in a local park, and when we returned, we'd camp in the backyard using just the equipment that we had on our back. We even set up an inflatable pool in the backyard and called it a lake, because just in case we got really hot, we might want to take a dip. The plan was that we'd hike about 4 miles through the park with our backpacks loaded as if we're going up Mount Mincy. I froze some water bottles and grabbed a little cooler, which I had loaded with water bottles from the fridge, and included the frozen bottles. We put ice in our water bottles, the ones that we strapped to our backs, and filled them with chilled water and headed out. The initial hike from the parking lot to the top of the hill was tough. It's a steep climb in the heat, and there is no shade. It was approximately 95 to 100 degrees on the day we did this walk. Today it's about maybe 40. This technically is the trail head to most of the trails that are here. We started off, I think it was the green trail. I have to look at the map to tell you for sure what color it is. It's quite a steep hill. I'm going to go back over here so you can get a better idea of how steep it is. It's kind of a bunny hill, ski slope kind of thing. I can give you some perspective on that. The trailhead is actually at the top of the hill. Once we arrived at the top at the trailhead, we paused for water and to catch our breaths. Okay, so this is where we went. It's actually a nice path. You see it. Then we continued. The hike was not as hot as we thought it might be. We were in the cool of the trees the entire time, and it wasn't until we had to start to walk back down the hill in the sun that the heat started affecting us. We slowed our pace and drank some ice water, which we still had in the cooler. When we got home, we started to feel the heat. We set up our tents, and we changed into our bathing suits, which we brought with us, then dipped into the inflatable lake.
Well, what we did on the Faux backpacking trip, we did that so that way we could test out our gear, and if something were to happen, we would be right near the house, so we would be pretty safe. And we basically just did a real backpacking trip, except through our through one of our parks and into our backyard again. And then we camped out outside. And it was all a very fun trip. And what I liked about it was that we got to do a lot of hiking. And we got to see some of my favorite parts of the park. Like somehow getting to a spring then to Snuffy Hollow, which is something for the Boy Scouts in the back of the high school. And other stuff along those lines, including testing out our gear, unless I already mentioned that. And it was basically just to get us ready for our Mount Mincy trip, which I will talk about in another recording. And thank you for listening.
After the dip in the lake, we sat under a tree in the backyard and ate the sandwiches we had packed. Then, as a treat for Scout, Dad brought out a bag of peanut M&Ms he'd packed. When we had finished eating, we changed into our camp clothes and checked the arrangement for the tent. While we were eating, Mom had come home and checked on her boys. She thought it would be a nice idea for Scout to have his favorite stuffed animal, Chester. Chester is a large stuffed dog about the size of Scout. Dad argued that it would be cheating since Scout hadn't carried Chester on the trail and Scout would have to sleep without him. Of course, Dad lost that argument and Chester found his way into Scout's arms for the night. Note: when a tent is labeled a two-person tent, it means two people that are not uncomfortable sleeping close. Dad was unprepared for how cozy this tent would be, as he found sharing a tent with Scout similar to sleeping next to a water buffalo or trying to sleep while bull riding. Throughout the night, Scout kicked Dad repeatedly in his sleep, and at one point Scout jumped on top of Dad. Dad had to push Scout off and sleep in the fetal position with his back to Scout for protection. Dad barely slept that night. In the morning, Dad made his breakfast skillet using his Fancy Feast stove. Scout had an oatmeal recipe he had made from a scouting handbook on hiking. It was at this point we realized the mistake we made. We forgot coffee! But that was the point of the trip, to work out these kinks and gain a better understanding of how to prepare for our real trip up Mount Mincy. We packed up our gear, but Dad was too tired to redo the hike, so we walked around to the front of the house and came in the front door. We unpacked our packs, put our clothes in the wash, and Dad took a nap for about 6 hours.
And thank you for listening.